I was born June 28th, 1932. And when I was born, my parents lived in Astoria, Long Island. And my mother and father had stores on Sandwich Street. So that's where we lived, in an apartment over one of their buildings. And until I got older, went to school. And when I was younger, like before school age, when you first go to kindergarten, the school was right across the street on Steinway Street.
That's so funny.
So we used to really cross the street and go into one of my mother had her own store. She was a milliner, which was called the Bon-Ray store. And of course at home, we had a housekeeper that my mother hired from England when my brother was born, and then I was born 3 years later. She stayed with us, and believe it or not, she was with us until the time I got married.
Oh my God, very nice.
Lived in had her own room in the house, yeah. Anyway, after I got older, we moved off Steinway Street into a lovely building on 35th Street in Astoria, where the synagogue was right on the corner where I went to religious schools, and I was bar mitzvahed. After that, when I wanted to go to high school, and we moved to, my father bought a house in Forest Hills, and I wanted to stay there. I wanted to go to Forest Hills High School because I met a lot of friends and so forth. But my father was a magician, not a magician, but a musician.
Right. He
played the trumpet when he was younger before he married my mother. And he insisted that I take piano lessons when I was 6 years old till the time I was ready to go to high school.
Wow.
When I wanted to go to high school, he suggested that I try for music and art in high school in New York, which is on the Upper East Side of New York. I played the Greg's Piano Concerto for an audience in the high school because they were all there checking on my
like an audition.
Auditions, yeah. When I left that night after the auditions and so forth, one of the teachers or one of the women that are in charge there came over to me and said, "Could you tell me, are you related to the principal of the school here?" And I said, "No, I'm not." So honestly, after that, I didn't want to really go to New York every day on the subway. My father said he would drive me, but I had friends in Forest Hills, and I'd rather go to Forest Hill High Schools. So that's where I went.
Right.
I never went there. After high school, I, had a lot of activity there with friends and so forth. And I, of course, learned how to drive, got a car, and so forth. When I was a kid, we only listened to the radio because we didn't have a TV. But when TVs came out, my father right away got a big TV. It was a whole piece of furniture.
Right. I remember those.
Yes. My parents actually were very, good to us and so forth. We always were together on various things. Whenever even when you girls, you were young a baby, Pam, we used to go out for dinner on Sundays with you and my parents.
I remember.
Yeah, my mother used to give you all kinds of.
Oh, I
Hot
remember.
coffee,
She's
milk
sick, too.
coffee.
We never really celebrated any religious kind of holidays because our parents were always in the retail business, and in those days they used to work from 9 in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. Jean, her name was Jean Lord, she's from England, English girl. She made, the
Same
dinner.
name.
What?
Same name as Nanny.
Same name as what?
As your
Nanny
mother.
Jean.
Nanny Jean, yeah. She made my brother and myself dinner, but a lot of the dinners that she prepared and so forth, she used to send home with, my father used to come and pick it up, and she used to send back to the stores, and they ate it back at the stores and so forth.
Wow.
All right, that's
And,
interesting.
What
the only
about
thing
you?
they went out to eat was on Sunday, where they went to the Lower East Side to the Romanian restaurants, to the Jewish Romanian restaurants.
With you.
Huh?
With you.
Yeah, with me. Yeah. So anyway, my father's mother, first of all, my mother's maiden name was Marcel,
That's French.
Spell that?
Maisell.
Marcel.
Marcel,
It was no double L.
just one L, Marcel. That was our father, my
The
grandfather.
Marvelous Miss Maisel.
What was that?
Oh, that's like the marvelous Miss Maisel.
Yes.
Oh, so that's the
That's why
same
I love
last
that,
name.
That show, yeah.
So your mother's maiden name was Maisel.
Jane Maisel,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And her father was a very religious man. He always wore, tzitzis and a yarmulke and so forth.
Oh.
And my mother was one of 8 sisters. So one of the sisters, Ida, he lived with when, his my grandmother passed away, and she took him in, and that's where he lived till he passed away. My father's mother, I didn't know my father's father, but my father's mother, her name was, grandmother's name was Weiss, Matilda Weiss. It's Weiss. She was a playwright for the Jewish
Jewish theater.
Jewish theater.
Matilda.
Matilda. The whole family was in show business because my father's family, his brother was in show business, Billy Rogers. He was an orchestra leader. He had his own orchestra. He played on our wedding. His
Irene.
sister was Irene Albiesco because she changed it for Weiss. She was a ballerina. Anyway,
He used to sell peanuts at the circus.
well,
Who sold peanuts?
no.
An uncle?
When I took him to
One
the
of-
when I took Stephen at 5 years old to
Stephen.
the
Your
circus
nephew.
because my brother couldn't go or whatever. He brought us such stuff, all kinds of new souvenirs and whatnot. He used to work there, and actually, my father, of course, actually was born Joe Weiss, but when he was professional, when he went around the world with Elsie Janis in the business,
Orchestra.
with an orchestra, he changed it to Wise.
I had no idea.
And I was born when my brother
knew
was
that.
born. Wise, W-I-S-E.
So what was the Maisel's first name, grandparents?
Your mother's mother and father.
I used to call him Zeta. I don't recall what the
Zeta and what's
the Zeta later Shiksa, that. His name I forgot, and I didn't know my mother's mother because she had died before I was born. But her father
lived with Ida.
lived with Ida,
And he wore tallis.
and we they always took him away to the country in the summertime because my relatives, my mother's relatives, owned the Commodore Hotel in South Fallsburg,
That's interesting.
you know, yeah. And that's where he had a room for the summer. I, cause never knew Audrey, you know, she went to the Bronx, I lived in Forest Hills. I was single.
Well, yeah,
But I went to
friends.
I had a lot of friends, but I went with my friend Eddie Flock, and was at a hotel in the city. And Audrey was there with her friend
Carol.
Bob. not
Carol?
Carol.
Carol.
Yeah.
She was single. So anyway, I think it was a dance, you know, single people. I think I had asked her to dance. Did I? I don't know if we danced or not.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, we were dancing, yeah. And Carol, I don't know if Eddie met anybody or he was dancing or whatever, but Carol met a guy, and they seemed to be very close with each other. And he came over to me, and he handed me $5, and he said, "This one that you're dancing with, could you take her home? I heard she lives in the Bronx." Well, this Carol lived in the Bronx too, her friend, that's how they knew. I said to him, "That's okay. I'll try to get her a ride with a friend of mine."
A fashion question for you. What's the most unusual trend you remember?
As far as clothing is concerned,
Or anything, any trend.
yeah. Well, bell-bottom trousers were tremendous item in those days. They used to sing a song about that and so forth.
You guys were always very fashionable. Whenever you went out and went out with your friends or out to parties, I remember you both always being very fashionable.
Yeah, we used to love to shop for clothing, shop for tchotchkes for the house. We were always shopping. But yeah, we enjoyed looking
Looking
snazzy.
good and snazzy. And shopping.
And
That's the
shopping.
one thing that you both had in common that you enjoyed doing together. Shopping.
We used to shop the flea markets, the
Antiques, all different
antique
things.
shows.
All kinds of antique shows, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
And you collected a lot of nice
when we
things for
got-
your home.
yeah.
Well, if you're going to ask these questions, when we got married, because Mother lived in the Bronx and I lived in Forest Hills, but we got an apartment in Forest Hills when Pam gave
When I was born.
was born, yeah. And believe it or not, my mother said to me, she has to move out of the house. It was
English tutor.
an English tutor, 2 flights. They're going to move to a brand new apartment in Forest Hills. Of course, and they're not going to sell the house, but they would, instead of they'd give us the house instead of us going to buy a house on the other. So that was a very nice idea, but Mother absolutely didn't want to live in the Forest Hills. She wanted to live on Long Island,
Okay.
out where the people live with young children and so forth. So right away, I looked at various places, without Mother,
In the newspaper.
and all and I found, when I was single, I used to date somebody that went to Port Washington, to the Riviera on Manhasset Bay, where they had dancing and beautiful. So I went out there to take a look. There was a brand new homes being built called Soundview Garden, not Soundview Gardens, but Soundview. The section in Port Washington was Soundview. And I took Mother on a Sunday out to look at. She couldn't believe that where this place was.
We're driving on the parkway.
And we
Where
looked-
are we going?
And we walked into this open house, where there was a, a person showing the house, and also somebody at a desk taking applications. I walked upstairs or downstairs. I guess I went downstairs. That's where he was, down in the basement or the playroom, and Mother was looking upstairs at and I gave him an application
Oh,
to buy the house, to buy
money,
a what?
money, deposit.
Well, I might have given him $100 or
That's right.
something. I don't know what I had on me. And Mother came down and I told her, we gave a deposit on this house.
So what'd you think, Mom?
I was happy. I loved it. It looked so enormous.
So when we went to closing on the house, so my parents didn't sold their house, and my father, they moved to Gerard Towers also in Forest Hills, which
I remember that apartment.
beautiful apartment. Yeah. My father gave us some money for a nice down payment when we went to closing on the house,
That was nice.
which was very nice.
Very nice.
That was Ethel and Belle, and they were buyers. Ethel was a chillersware buyer in the city. Belle was a woman's wear buyer. And Ethel, I was always friendly with them. And Ethel said to me, there is a store in Port Washington called, not Kitty Village, but we called it Bo Peep.
Bo Peep.
Bo Peep. And I know the guy, his name is Teddy Paul, and he's selling it. I said, give me his name and so forth. So I called him, and he said to me, well, I'll be in the store today until I close at 6 o'clock. And it was still in the city. So when I got off the train on 1 Street, I walked over to the store, and I bought the store from him.
He never asked me. He
Again.
came home.
With the merchandise and whatever he had there.
That's great.
It was hysterical.
I mean,
And
until I got sick, I think when I had my first, not heart attack, but I had open heart surgery. Was I 50?
55.
Oh, 55, yeah.
It's young, very young.
So, and I had a wonderful, life with everybody until I really had to take, all different things happened to me, and I had to be in touch with doctors and all kinds of medication and so forth. And I've had other operations after that, right? Take care of yourself, watch whatever you do, be careful what you eat, and whatever the doctor tells you, make sure you do it. You take the
So-
proper medication.
I have a question. How do you feel like the first heart surgery changed you?
It had, well, first of all, I was so sick before I had that new valve put in, right? The palpitations I had constantly, and
So the surgeries have saved your life and made you live longer.
yeah,
Are you thankful for that?
yeah, I can't believe that I'm still living.
Yeah.
Yeah. The best day of my life. I mean, I have so many best days.
that's what I would have said.
Right. The best days you
Are
were
yet to
born,
come.
the best days Alyssa was born, the best days you got married, the best days.
Right.
Even Alyssa got married.
That's true, I guess. What are
Jeffrey
you
got married.
What are you most proud of?
I'm proud of my whole family. And my son also. the way he made a wonderful career out of himself for himself. I shouldn't.
How
What
would
will
you
they
like to
say?
be
What do you
remembered?
want them to
But
say?
I would know it anyway if I'm gone. So
Well,
that'll be it.
but what would your dream be for them to say? I know what we would say. We would say he was the best dad, a loving person,
Oh, good. So that's all that matters to me, right?
kind-hearted.
And you'll be happy in your lives. Yeah.
Oh, that's what I wish for everybody. Health and happiness. And then cut.
Happy birthday, Papa.
Happy birthday.